If you're interested in supporting this work, you can support me on Patreon. Click the link down below on Patreon, or I'll put the link up here in the corner to Patreon, so you can go there and become a patron supporter. Get mantra and meditation MP3s at JasonGallant.ca. So recently, Arathi Ma had the introductory call to the Wisdom Life School. And she gave many teachings in this and did some satsang as well for the students and had some people share their own experiences. And I thought, because the call is available, I thought maybe I'd just put it on here for you so that you can listen and see what you can get out of it. So there's a lot of useful teachings in there, a lot of things that resonate a lot with the content that I'm making on here. So I thought you would benefit, so enjoy.
Hello, welcome. Welcome to this call today. I'm happy that you made time and are present here today. So I'm really looking forward to spending this time together with you today. So make yourself comfortable, and we will speak on awakening, enlightenment. We'll do some practical work together, and that will bring some more clarity and help if you are on this journey. My school, Wisdom Life School, the online course, is reopening again today and officially on August 1st, and with another year of study and practice. And I'll talk about that a little bit later, because what is it all about? Enlightenment, awakening, what is all these things? So first of all, if you're here for the first time and you would like to talk to me and ask a question, you can. If you're on the phone, you press *2. And if you're on the web call, you just either you just see your little hand there, you raise your hand, you click that. You can use the Q&A box to write your question, and it would be on your page if you are on the web page. So I will be speaking from my own knowledge and experience, which started pretty early in life. So what I teach is from my own experience, and it's directly a result of decades of practice and lifetimes of being on this path. So this is not new. Usually when you are interested in enlightenment, very likely you have to be, that kind of karma has to be with you so that you are even drawn to it and to reawaken it, and also to go deeper with it and continue. I mean, that's always a choice. We are free will, but at least there is sort of the karmic tendency to be interested in that because we resonate with it. It's familiar. So what is awakening and what is enlightenment and all these things? So what does it mean if somebody says, I had an awakening or I woke up? And well, there is different understandings of the same word. And the question is, what did you wake up to is the question. Did you wake up to political knowledge and what goes on in the world? Is it that you are more than your body? Are you waking up to the fact that you are spirit and that you're more than your body? Are you waking up to that source that made you and who you really are? So what did you wake up to? Now, when you wake up to something, that does not necessarily mean that you have mastered it and you've become it. Just like if you wake up to the fact that there's strawberries, you've never seen strawberries, you're a little child, for the first time you see strawberries, you woke up to the fact that there's strawberries. Is it an enlightenment? No. It is an awareness did expand. So yeah, we can say that there is an expansion of consciousness. There's a little bit more luminosity in the mind. But now what do we do with the strawberry? First of all, this child will then have to eat it, learn the skill of putting it into the mouth, then digest it. Maybe the body will reject it and can't digest it. So is there conflict between that item that we became conscious of? So when you have a spiritual experience, it does not necessarily mean that it has totally transformed you, that it is that it left a lasting footprint within you. So we have to completely embody what we awaken to. And then when you actually know about something, then we have two choices. There's a mechanism that will make it for you more luminous and brighter your life, or the egoic tendencies, the habits within you. And I can talk about it a little bit more. This is a bit of a summary here, of understanding things. So just, have a glass of water, just sit back and allow also, maybe not everything is understandable right now, because this is really knowledge that goes beyond the mind. So hopefully at the end of the call, you will sense a bit of a transformation, and also a lot of clarity, or more clarity about what this is all about if you are doing some practices. And then also knowing, are these practices useful that you're doing? Are they really going to lead to awakening for you? Are they going to really lead to enlightenment, or are they going to lead to psychological growth? So we'll kind of look at that. So yeah, this little child that eats a strawberry can basically be completely open to the experience, and experience the flavor and everything, and just make itself vulnerable to it, which is what we do when we're little children, or what adults do once their personality, their identity is set. They will have comments on it. They like it or dislike it. They will sort the experience into letting certain things in or not. They might have a lot of ideas about the strawberries and comment on it, but they did not really grow with it. There was no conscious expansion, by having this experience. So essentially, we have to be very vulnerable in order to actually truly awaken and become enlightened. Are all spiritual practices leading to enlightenment? Yes, but not all psychological practices. The spiritual practices, yes, if they're really true spiritual practices, they do. But psychological practices, and many of you I know do psychological practices, they do not really apply to that. It's not the classical renunciation of the cause of all suffering. So I'll repeat that. The renunciation of the cause of all suffering has to be realized. It has to be done. And if that doesn't take place, then we are going through an individuation on a psychic level as a soul. And then the soul, even if once it's fully individuated, it can then begin the spiritual journey. Let me give you another example. For example, it came to me this morning to make it a little easier. For example, with baking, I thought, if let's say you want to make a cake, you need ingredients. So first of all, they're all spread out in different places in the kitchen. Maybe some things are in the cupboard, some things are in the fridge. First of all, you need to know what the ingredients are, yeah? And then most of the time, we don't even know that we are very fragmented. So this cake does not even exist yet. It's fragmented into all these different pieces. So first of all, you need to recognize, I can make a cake. I can actually take pieces and then put them together in the proper proportions. And then once I have it actually put all together, which means is, let's say you use flour and eggs and all this, and sugar and all these things that most people don't eat anymore today, but let's say we're just going to do a classical cake. We have to basically put it together, and each piece of it will actually die in the process, because the eggs will be totally messed up, they will broken, and then it gets mixed up. The flour is not just flour, it becomes what we call dough. And so we actually, just by bringing the different pieces of our soul, the different energies back together, that in itself changes you. And then what do? We mix it, right? So you undergo a sort of a bit of a beating, yeah? You suffer, it's like painful and all these things. And then, it's sort of, you get, moved, and everything gets moved together and put in a form. So we need a form. It means we need to know what is the direction to throw our attention towards. Where do we focus into? In this case of the cake, it's some kind of spring form. So we'll put it in there, and then we have to put it into the oven, which is heat. So then what happens is the Kundalini fire, the spiritual fire within you, needs to be active in order to have a true transformation taking place. And until the cake is fully baked, not half baked, because you can't eat it, it's useless, it's not even just dough anymore. It has to be fully baked. It will then begin to exude an aroma. And we call it in the Sanskrit language, it becomes very sattvic. It becomes light, luminous, fragrant. And then you're ready. And what happens then? What happens to this cake? This cake gets eaten. Yeah, it becomes service to others. So it's quite a journey. And I see, working with many people over a long period of time, decades, that most of the people that I know, most, not all, but most, are in the very beginning of just getting the items, the ingredients together, and trying to mix things in, and struggling with this because they don't actually know how to really get to the end result. They don't know exactly how this works, because in this new age, there are a lot of false spiritual concepts, and they get sort of locked into entertainment instead of transformation. There's a lot of information for entertainment. So if you listen to a story, I saw now the story of the Lion's Gate, that's going around. That, if you listen to a story, you don't necessarily become the character in the story. Dreams might feel very real, but you're supposed to wake up out of the dream. We need to become mentally well again. We are confused. There's the more information we have, the more story we have, doesn't mean that causes awakening. It causes maybe a sense of orientation and a story that we like tell little children a story so that they can sort of psychically find references and a sense of belonging. But to wake up is a lot more. So what is awakening? So basically the answer is you have to awaken to that which is really you. And that is not an idea, and it's not in your mind. So now it becomes tricky, right? Because all you know is your mind and your identity. So now the question is, what is enlightenment? Enlightenment is really the journey into light. The eternal light is already here. So we're just like plugged up plumbing. So we need to get unplugged. We need to reopen and then re-yoke to source. And enlightenment is really a term that is coined by, as far as I know, from Buddhism itself. So it means it refers to the mind, which in its nature is actually luminous and transparent, like a clean window pane. And if the window pane isn't clear and you can't see through it, because what are you supposed to look at? You look through the window pane, through the mind, outside into the beautiful sunshine. So you basically want to see the sun. You want to see the beautiful nature out there. You want to see everything. But if the mind is cluttered and dirtied with programming, we call it, with karmic material, it'll be opaque, and it also distorts things. And so we live in a prison of ideas and concepts, and we have no clue who we are. You don't know yourself. You don't have a clue what it is. And then even if you can see through the window pane, then we have to open the window and get out. And that means leaving the mind behind, transcending the mind. So that's quite a process, and it doesn't happen overnight. So the Wisdom Life School is really not some kind of quick bite and quick fix thing, because it would be an absolute lie if that's what I told you. No, it is something that gives you direction and some very clear, practical, simplified ways of actually going about to achieve this liberation. I can talk a little bit about the differences between all these things, but let me just talk about do you have a chance to become enlightened? Well, how many of your neighbors, co-workers, family members are enlightened? I guess likely none, right? So that shouldn't discourage you, but rather it should make the odds work in favor for you. Because if you deduct a few billion people who do not even aim for liberation, and then maybe add another few million who try but don't really know what they're doing, and then add another few million of those who give up and get distracted with all the human issues that arise, like falling in love, becoming a parent, finding work, building a house, drinking, whatever it is, then you are already ending up in a statistically good situation, because then you don't have that many odds against you, really. So do you have a chance at enlightenment? Yeah, you have a very good chance, actually. The fact is that there are very few that are enlightened, tells you, because nobody's looking for it. Very few are. And then on top of that, the overall evolution of this earth is just propelling an acceleration of psychological healing, which is a necessary foundation for spiritual awakening. There has to be a certain amount of healing that took place in order for you to even consider waking up. Otherwise, it's almost harmful. There's no foundation. There's nothing to build on. Yeah, because if you don't even have a sense of yourself, and you're just a bunch of concepts and habits and pains, these cannot wake up. Yeah, it has to be somebody that is waking up. So we need to get to somebody first. So this is why not everybody is a candidate for this, for the Wisdom Life School. What else can we say here? Why, anyway, why you want to become enlightened? Why, anyway, do it? Most people don't, right? So, because the answer is really, there's nothing else to do. Everybody's on a journey, because it's just light here. And, but most people just don't know, and they are participating in the natural evolution, which is millions and millions and millions, maybe billions of years long. So it's a very long evolutionary process. They just go with it. It's like a cork floating in the current somewhere. Whereas somebody who decides, like, oh, wait a minute, I am designed, I'm made in the image of Source, or in the image of God. I am actually designed as a bridge. I'm designed to bridge heaven and earth, or spirit and matter. So, okay, so this is actually purpose. This is why humans got, put in place, first place, to be here. This is what we're supposed to be. We're designed to bridge for the evolution of this Mother Earth. But now that the Earth is just in this cosmic timing and ascending a little bit to 5D, humans who actually have failed, and assisting, they got so distracted. Look at what humans have done on this planet, on the amount of evil that has basically taken root, that is being in the process of being shown. So there's a lot of humans now that need to catch up. Most humans now have to rush and catch up just to the evolution of Mother Earth is going through. And we've been feeling this in the last few years. You've probably noticed it. Although some people are still not noticing, they're very insensitive. So, is liberation the same as enlightenment? Not completely. To be liberated from samsara, the karmic seeds that all have to be baked in the oven, yeah? And to be, you have to be completely liberated from all the karmic tendencies. Then you don't have to, return into a physical form. Just remember, the attachment to you being a physical form and a human being, and considering this normal, is not really true. We are a point of light within the great light. And we can take form in many ways, in the more gross form, the human flesh body, or in subtler forms. And we do actually have layers. So we're multidimensionally already existing with subtler bodies. Well, that I know many of you know because of when you do self-healing and all the other experiences you have. Now, enlightenment refers to the totally clear and illumined mind. Now, these terms illumination and liberation, come from the East, and in Buddhism, they consider liberation comes first and then enlightenment afterwards. I would say that's true, because once you truly know who you are, you do have a chance to go and drop all. Once you know, let's say it's your garbage. Once you recognize that you got garbage in the kitchen, you actually can take it all and just walk away or just throw it out. So you don't have to go through each one and process it. So liberation can actually happen without having all these, having gone through everything, because you can go through everything in an instant. Where enlightenment is when your mind, the seeing permeates all of existence, which is massive. Yeah. So you're completely omniscient. So I would say for myself that I'm still in the process of enlightenment. I'm still enlightening. I'm still moving this what I have my liberation into the physical form, and changing my body, and with that my environment, because the body is connected to the earth and everything else. So what are the types of clearing techniques? Well, before we go to that, let's do something practical. Let's do something very simple. Let's do some breathing. You probably already know. If you can, take your right finger and close your right nostril, and then breathe in through the left. And then close the left nostril with your other finger and open, release the thumb. Breathe out through the right nostril. Now breathe in through the right nostril. Close the right nostril and breathe out the left. Let's go one cycle. Let's do that 2 more times. Breathe into the left. Close and then breathe out right nostril. Breathe in the right nostril. Close and then open left. Breathe out again. One more time. Close the left nostril. Breathe out right. Breathe in the right. Close. Breathe out the left. So very simple. If you can, even put your, if you're not holding your phone, maybe just do it with one hand. Take your index finger and touch your thumb. That's all. Make a little circle. And just bring your attention to your forehead area. Stay at the forehead area and allow this balancing that we just did to take place. You're just anchoring yourself at the fulcrum in the center of the head. And you're just suspending, thinking for a moment, really. So what we did is basically we did a body method of, what kinds of spiritual true clearing techniques are there. Well, what are we doing? We live in a polarized planet, and it's polarized. You can see it in the electromagnetics. We can see it masculine, feminine. And we can also see the day and night, sun and moon. We can see the cycling of things. And we can see it in our psyche and in our experience of being happy and then sad, and happy and sad. And then we're old and young. There's life and death and so forth. So if you're here on this planet, there's one thing only you're learning. The only thing you're really learning is to reconcile these polarities. And that's what we just did in a very simple way. I would say, sort of, on the surface here with this breathing, because we have a right and a left nostril that represent your electric magnetic field. And we're basically bringing them into harmony. We're breathing, and then we're anchoring our attention into the third eye. We're forcing first flow, and then we're anchoring it and let things balance out. So if you did that for 15 minutes, you'd feel quite different. And if you did that every day for the rest of your life, you would be forcing, in the long run, to open your heart. And what does that mean? It means that your heart can only open when you are in neutrality, when you have transcended duality in your identification. What does that all mean when I say that? Well, right now you're identifying as a person, and this person is in a process of desiring things. You are in a process of identifying with things. You can probably tell a story about yourself, who you are, what's going on with you, and the things you want and desire. Well, you can only do this if you are in a field of otherness, if there's other things to go to and other things to become. But let's imagine there's just one field of consciousness, one field. Let's call it quantum field, or just light. And there is just light. We're all light. Well, where can you go? What can you become? What story is there to tell? It sounds boring to the mind. And that's true. This is why nobody or very few people seek enlightenment, because it's extremely boring to the mind. In fact, it is so adverse. The mind is so adverse to it because the mind has been corrupted in the sense that it was hijacked by the ego or the identification. I'm going to make it very simple here. I'm not going to go into all the details. There's more to say about that. And so we use our mind to tell us who we are, to figure things out, to shape us, to make sense, to judge, to sort. And we actually forget what the mind is really all about. The mind is just there to reflect truth and to reflect things truthfully, and the forms that exist, to leave them as they are and to behold them and behold their radiance and to let them remind us of who we are. So the heart will open once we actually learn to be free from this judging and sorting tendency. And that in itself is a big part of this course, to really master that. And then from there, other processes start. The opening of the heart is something that is a very, very advanced. Very advanced. Most people think that's all very soft and nice, but I always refer to the story of the Western story of Jesus Christ, where we can see that total surrender is very painful. It's really a story that indicates what it means to truly then feel and allow ourselves to not react to the illusion, but to let the illusion burn itself out within us. And that's when we're in the oven, when we get baked as the cake, when we basically become fragrant, when we are not dough anymore, when we're not sticky. Because dough is sticky, right? Wherever you are, if you walk around, this is the fact, you go through life and you think that you are so free, but you're sticky. Everything sticks to you. It's just part of the magnetic field, because Earth is magnetic and there's no way around it. It's a spider web. So to wake up out of it is something that was my very first agenda in my life, and maybe it is yours. So there are techniques. There are mental techniques, emotional techniques, and body techniques. And in this course, I basically offer all of it. And this year, there will be some changes in the course. I will be focusing on additional focus on emotional self-clearing, which is really a psychological tool. But because humans are so so late in the evolutionary process, that to catch up with the times, I will accelerate and teach some self-healing processes on that and going through it. So even if you don't take the course, what can you do just by yourself, to find the silence between your thoughts? I mean, these are not true awakening enlightenment methods, but they help you when you, for example, are consumed with doing, let's say you're running, or you are consumed in play or in laughter. You're for a moment not caught in the mind. The next thing is Stop denying your feelings. Really feel every day. Feel everything. Learn to feel. Learn to become uncomfortable all the time, because it's uncomfortable to feel. Humans have learned to crystallize everything and to put up this veneer. So learn and allow yourself to be really uncomfortable. Stop role playing. Don't be anything in particular. Don't say I am this, I am that, I belong to this group and all this stuff. Just stop. Just stop it. Just drop it. Just be. Find quiet moments to get in touch with your soul and then later with your spirit. Let's do another little exercise that maybe some of you know, but many of you don't. Again, how to transcend time and space. And what makes time and space? The sun and the moon, right? Sun rises, moon rises, makes a day and a night. So if you can close your eyes for a moment and bring your attention to your heart area, just by your heart. Just in there, not complicated. And just the way you know the sun in the sky, just imagine the sun is in the center of your chest. Just a bright, beautiful, golden, yellow sun is right there in your chest. Just see it there. Make it up. Good. And now next to it, just visualize and see the moon, just the way you know it at night. At the same time, keep the sun and next to it the moon. It's not what we're used to, right, in time and space. But now you can do it. Have the sun and the moon there at the same time. See them at the same time. They're right there next to each other. Now take the moon and allow the moon, feel it and see it. Let the moon inch slowly towards the sun and beginning to overlap, go into the sun. Slowly, take your time, don't rush. Slowly feel it. And let this moon then vanish in the sun. Just let go. Just let go, don't see anything, just be here. Good, let's go a little deeper. And go as we are here right now. There's something really happening energetically right now with you. You're making a shift here out of this cycling of the mind. We're going to go now deeper, and I'd like you to go to the sense when you say me. Just say me. There's something there. Where is me? Somewhere in the chest area, right? Bring your attention to it. Don't think about it. Just bring your attention to where you are detecting me-ness. And then just stay there. And just notice that it's not really a thought nor a feeling. It's really beyond all that. Let's go a little deeper now into this me-ness. Let's track it a bit. These things require a tremendous amount of skill. And, if it's a little difficult right now, that's okay. Just try your best. And you will have maybe a little bit of something that is making sense to you, or not, or maybe something more massive is taking place within you. Don't worry about anything. None of these results matter. We're not really interested in experience. We're interested in transformation and realization. So allow yourself to fall into this me-ness. Just forget everything. Just be yourself now. Don't even try to feel it. Know it's happening. And I'm going to assist you in this process. Let's just go into this infinite, this meanness is infinite. It doesn't have really a location. Remember, you're a point of light within the great light. Light in light, just light. So let's go and allow that to unfold. We're blocking this out. We're contracting. We're just stopping that for a moment. And just go with what's happening. Just being yourself is the easiest thing to do. Now we're just going to go a little bit through this contraction now, which is often like a wall that makes up the ego, or that identification, that kind of contraction, crystallization. You take a deep breath and just allow yourself to expand a bit. It's like when you go to sleep. Waking up is going to sleep to the dream of you, and waking up to who you really are. And there's a luminosity and a sense of bliss that's starting to resonate into the surface bodies. And we're going to go even beyond all that. Again, what we learn is to be open to the mystery, open to that, open to what we cannot think of, to source of everything, to source to that which we are, which everything is. So we can have sort of practices like this. You can do this by yourself and then enjoy the silence and just sit nicely, without doing anything. Yeah, nicely, I mean, don't try hard, don't aim for things, don't judge what you're doing. Allow yourself to be very innocent, like a small child, just being here. Trusting that enlightenment is really your natural state. You're just not conscious of it. And it takes time for the surface body, for the mind, to actually deal with this reality. So the nervous system begins to change, the hormones and all that. Because, it takes a certain amount of time. It doesn't go overnight. I mean, we would burn out our nervous system if we did. So, let me look at some of the hands up here and questions. Let me just unmute. This is in Washington. I'm unmuting 5099. I'm wondering if that's Joanne. Is that Joanne?
No, it's Kathy.
Kathy. Okay.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah. Hi. My spiritual path has been sidetracked a lot by physical stuff, and especially recently, very intense. I don't know if it's the energies or what's going on, but I was hoping you could help me find some insight on that.
Well, when we ask why, and I know many of you that are on the phone on the call today are used to me doing healing. Healing and enlightenment are different things. So just to give you a sample what I would be doing if you were in my course, that's how I'm going to respond to all the questions today. So when you have a physical problem, it's not a sidetrack. That's your yoga. That is just your karma showing up, and you continue your spiritual application to actually awaken out of that. Do you follow what I'm saying?
Yes.
Did you see that you had a split? You began to relate to your disease as a form as some other, and that is not a spiritual practice. That's staying stuck in duality and going around the hamster wheel. Right. Everything that arises is It's just something to take home, I call it. Bring back to the core. Bring back to source. And that is only possible if we have a certain amount of, we're a little more loose towards our own story of, oh, I must be healthy, or maybe this is dangerous, all these things. So all that, they have to have a certain amount of detachment or to actually deal with physical issues in that way. So this is why it takes a little bit of time to actually have that maturity. But I think you can do that.
Okay. Well, I'm getting good at being uncomfortable, and just allowing it, because I realize, my body is trying to say something, and
you see, that's good. Let me answer that as well. My body is trying to say something is a healing method. A healing method has nothing to do with enlightenment. You see, the body is not saying anything. The body is just inert. Have you seen a corpse? I was a nurse. I saw a lot of corpses. It's just a pile of elements. But you are consciousness. And you as consciousness are confused being this body. And that's where this duality has arisen. So you need to go beyond that duality. That's your next step for you.
Okay.
Yeah? Okay. Great. Good. So next person is in New York, 6463. Hi.
Hi.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. This is Albert. It's so wonderful to chat with you again, Arathi Ma. And I wanted to ask you the idea of good and evil, and my physical ailments. But I wanted to talk to you of darkness and light. And what is darkness and light? I mean, angels and devils? I mean, that's something that's...
Good question.
Yeah.
No, I love your question because it's not clear to people. Let me start with very simple, that there's only oneness, there's only source, right? And so when source moves, it's just like it's just that. There's no time and space, there's no here and there. But when source moves, let's say it causes light, right? It's like in water, like the ocean, it starts moving, it causes waves. Now we have a wave that is it has a top, like a high, and then the bottom part of the wave. So we create a duality, and within the duality is still beauty. You see, it's all very beautiful. There is still glory in that. But because when source moves, it brings forward intelligence. It's called Mahat. It's this great intelligence that basically has the ability to, now because it's in duality and there's movement, it goes into contraction and expansion. And when it goes into contraction, it creates a sense of I, what we call ego in the West, ahankar in Sanskrit. Now this ahankar, this contraction, if we allow ourselves to constantly expand and contract, we would be what we call be in flow, and we'd always be one with cosmic intelligence. There would be this glorious experience of, we would be luminous. But what happens is that the sense of I, because of contraction, it contains inherently the power to contract and to identify. So in that sense, because it continues then to contract further into all the elements and then into form, right? This is how matter comes into existence. It's really contracted light. And because of the evolution of the senses are being born. I'm not going to go into all the details, but what happens is that when the senses are there, they will always see dualistic things. And that's good. That's not a problem. But when we actually start to crystallize and hold on to something, and we don't want to go through this expansion, contraction, and we basically remain contracted, it causes another space to appear, which is what we call the darkness or evil. So it is basically a denial of flow that causes something else to be born. And an extra space, you could say, and that space is what we call evil and real darkness. Like not in the sense of, I guess I'm talking to something here, not in the sense of, like the night and the day. The night in itself is not evil; it's just another out-breath or in-breath, of the play of life. It's just more like if we stay contracted, then evil arises. And in this distortion, diseases arise, and what we call, in biblical sense, the sins arise, and all these things. Yeah. So is that more clear that we have duality, but we basically crystallize into the contraction, which causes something else to be born?
Okay, that's kind of clear in a very sophisticated, poetic sense. But what I'm trying to get at is just a basic fact that right now I notice that there are a big explosion of witchcraft in darkness, and the worshipping of the Dark Mother, maybe Hecate or whatever.
Correct. Yes.
But and that and also my experiences in my life where I have been drawn into the darkness, and I'm also drawn into the light. What I'm confused is it good to be in both at the same time? I'm still aiming for the light right now, but I also see the darkness.
No, you can't be. You can't. You're supposed to detach and only focus. There's only oneness. You have to basically turn your attention, practically, back into your core, into the center of yourself, and withdraw all your life force from this evil creation. And that's what's happened. We see we're in a time where through the evolution of consciousness of the Mother Earth and this corner of this universe, which was something that was hidden, was illumined. So we can see it now. It's coming out. It was always there, but it's coming out. Now the choice and the free will is to detach and to, first of all, not fear it, because it is crystallized fear, but to literally realize that, hey, we don't want that. We want to, and let me talk about this. There is a natural law that cannot be broken. People nowadays think that everything goes. No, it doesn't. Like a pine tree is supposed to be green and not purple. A lot of people distort themselves physically and do all kinds of things just in the name of fashion. No, there is a law that we're supposed to be under. We can watch this in nature. And so it's the choice now to follow back into that natural law that we all know within our heart, just the way we know that if a frame on the wall, a picture is hanging crooked, we just know it's crooked. We can feel it, we know it, but we need to get away from justifying it and finding excitement in the evil. And everybody is entangled in it to some degree. And we basically untangle ourselves, and then we will stop seeing it outside in the world, because it's all us. We are all that. Is that helping?
I see. Yes, it is. So in my world, if I detach and come back to the oneness and the light, so all these interests, or what do you call it, the secondary love for the darkness, will be removed from my temptation, from my world, and I will gravitate more towards the love aspect, the light aspect.
Yeah, but
right
you have to struggle though, because you have to struggle with yourself, within yourself, because it's like a habit, like people have addictions, and you have to work at that, and that is why true spiritual evolution is the soul purifying itself into that luminosity and beauty that she really is, and it's, I would say it's not an easy task, but it's a great task, and you can do it. You have to make first a decision, then you're going to get challenge, and then you have to move through the challenge, hitting your head against the wall sometimes because it's rough, and at the same time you keep, you challenge how strong is your soul. Is it going to slide back? And it happens over and over, and that's where pain, or like the word suffering, comes from. The soul suffers so much that it at some point says, I can't do this anymore. I'm losing the fascination with the dark and this individualization of playing God, really. That's what it is. It's soul playing God. That's what evil really is.
Yes, I understand that. Right.
Okay.
Very sophisticated. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Arathi Ma.
Thank you. You're welcome. Great question. Good. I'm going to unmute Louise. Hi, Louise. Thanks for being here.
Hi, Arathi Ma. Thank you for another amazing call. I just wanted to share with anyone, and if you wanted to ask any particular questions or would like me to speak to, but I just want Oh, go ahead.
Well, you have been in WLS for another 3 years, and you're going to continue with the fourth, I know. So, well, my question is why? What happened to you? Well, I have to say that you're one of two other people who had a true awakening, like truly woke up. They are self-realized, and now you and two others are in the process. One is working right now, and I don't know the other one. Sometimes there's a bad connection, so I don't know if she's even on here today. But you basically are going through the next stage of, evolution. But tell a little bit like what it was like for you in the beginning, or what is it that really, I know you can say about WLS.
Thank you. Yeah, and I would like to share that, as you said, I've been in WLS 3 years, and I actually awoke November on my birthday in my first year, and I honestly can't ever imagine not doing Wisdom Life School. In my journey prior to that, I've had diabetes for over 50 years, since I was 2 years old. So there was a lot of different health challenges, and my entire life was really all about, like you were speaking earlier on the call, right, always, either trying to avoid and improve like pain or health issues or whatever, or trying to improve something, prove myself, be successful in the world, whatever it was. And really my focus on spirituality, which I don't even know if I really knew it as that then, was started maybe 15 years ago. And I was always moving to the next, like what is going to help me change, help me shift. And I realized, so much or most of it was psychological. I didn't even really know, even when I started WLS, what a guru was in the Eastern tradition. And I remember, it was really kind of funny, because I remember in maybe it was our second or third module, when we needed to start meditating as one of our practices. And I had learned transcendental meditation maybe 15 years ago, did it for a year or so, and then gave it up. And honestly, meditation really transformed everything for me, and it was, your support in meditation and all of the practices in every way in WLS that makes, to me, the kind of transformation possible that I feel is just exponential. I mean, like the way my life is now, I feel things and experience things, but they're just small waves. There's just always peace. There's no mental struggle in terms of thinking about this or that or deciding. Like things, the contemplation may happen naturally, but then action just happens. There's no more angst or anxiety around any of that. And so some people might be asking, well, why would you continue WLS for your fourth year? And I'll just say, that just that place of being, being one with God and just ever deepening with all that you teach us is just something I want to continue for the rest of my life and journey.
Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, this is, I think, it comes to the more advanced stages is when the devotion begins to open. The devotion not to me as a person, but to Source. And I'm just the pointer here, the catalyst, the one that kind of has gone down the road, and I just kind of point, this way. So because a Source is infinitely evolving, and because the body, there's just within time and space, constantly something is evolving, and within the recipe, let's call it within the nature of Source is that nothing is done twice. Everything is fresh and new. And so once the devotion opens up and we really engage within evolution, it becomes so exponential, and it becomes more and more fulfilling. There's no end to it. Let's put it this way. Enlightenment has no end. And that's what you have learned. That's why you're saying, I could always do this for the rest of my life. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
And that's such a beautiful, and if I could just add one more thing, and that's such a beautiful thing to say too, right? Because my background, and I know, right, some in WLS are from the heart. They came from the heart, right? That was their natural. Whereas for me, it was the mind, right? Like there were many times I couldn't even feel. And so to be able to move through that and then realize, what I really am is what, like you explained earlier, open the heart and this beauty that I'm able to experience now. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for sharing. Thanks so much, Louise. I'm going to unmute Michael in California, 9513. Hello?
Hello, Arathi Ma.
Yes, hi there.
Good morning. This is Jean.
It was Jean. Hi there. Okay.
Hi. I know I've been away from you and in the sense that I'm not in the program, but I did not continue, but
can you come closer to the microphone? It's a bit hard to hear.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Much better. Thank you. Much better.
Okay. As I said that I've been away from the school. I just have just a whole year where financially it's still the same. But to me, it's just what I have with you and experience with the whole group is still with me when I see the tree dancing just for me, the sun just shining just for me. I become so simple. It's just so simplified for me, and it stays with me. It's like it's been embodied in me. I don't have any questions anymore about what I see, I feel through my senses.
Yes, beautiful.
I just become so blank and empty.
Good. And that's not a scary thing, right? If somebody hears that, they think, oh my God, blank and empty. But now you can really show up for life, right? And you just, it's much more colorful, much more, you're present with it, right?
Yeah, yes. And I see just the way I see, and no judgment, nothing like that. And automatically, I will just hear your voice. Automatically, you just gonna remind me if I'm gonna step out of the, getting into a judgmental mood because of the environment. I will just hear you automatically.
And it's a part of the course.
It is so powerful, Arathi Ma, and that is why, I treasure, like the moment of then and now is just the same. Like when I go, I have challenge and manifesting or whatever, or luxury, or, you see, just go to the rich neighborhood, but you don't need to have them because it is a problem. All you have to do is feel it. And I feel it. It's just beautiful.
Okay. Well, thanks for you sharing a little bit how to dissolve emotions there. So that's good. Thanks for sharing with Jean. Well, whatever things are changing for you, always welcome back. So, if you want to.
I will definitely. And I still say my searching for my true teacher. I still say that mantra because I don't know if I'm searching or anything, but I'm happy. I'm very happy.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, good. Thank you.
And you.
Thank you. Sorry, I want to, move on to the next caller. Sorry, Regine. And I would like, because there's quite a few questions. So I'm going to go to San Diego now at 6199. Hello.
Hello?
Yeah, hello. Who's that?
Hi, I'm Heather.
Heather. Okay, hi.
Hi. I just had a silly question. That whole nostril breathing?
Okay, you said, okay, so you said not one. Okay, I'm just looking at this. So it was a little bit blocked up, you're saying?
Yeah, and it felt, because it comes in so slowly. It was my left that was coming in very, very slowly, and it felt like I was going to suffocate and die, kind of.
Good. I'm glad you can notice. That's good. That's good, because what you're doing is, you keep breathing. You basically can self-diagnose. It's at the left side. It tells you that your feminine side is blocked. Somebody asked about the feminine here as well. And there's imbalance. That tells me also that you're in your mind most of the time. Because if you weren't in your mind, your breathing would be different. Things can be, you can be in the middle of a cleanse, which will also a pattern. It will basically make the pranas out of balance, and then you'll have your nostrils. And your Ida and Pingala are the two main channels, which are ending up next to the nostrils, to your nose, the masculine and the feminine channel, and they need to be balanced in order to actually exit the mind, to transcend, to be in that neutrality. Yeah. So you just keep breathing, just until it comes, there's a lot of other practices if you do decide to join. This is just one of them. There's much more that goes also deeper, because this is a body method, but there's other methods that we need to master, because it's like gravity. You have to overcome gravity. You have to know how to overcome gravity with your mind, with your psychic body. You see?
Okay. Yeah, because I've tried it at other times and it just has never. So I was like, okay, is that just like something I have to work through? Is it a weird thing around feeling like I'm going to die? Like, what is that?
Yeah, it is, because you have the program of death within you. So, and that is it's not true. You're spirit. You're light, a point of light within light, which means is that if you believe it, you're in relationship to a pattern. And that needs to be transcended. That needs to be, because that pattern is ruling you right now. You're at the leash. You're like a dog on a leash, and that pattern is taking you for a walk.
Okay.
And that is why. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Oh no, please.
I was just going to say that this is why enlightenment is the solution. We need to wake up. We need to sever that leash. We want to be free. I don't want to be on a leash.
Yeah. And then you were saying, like, I loved the whole metaphor around, the baking of a cake and the individual ingredients, and that they kind of, almost get broken and then consumed into the whole, and that there has to be some kind of and I'm not using the right words, and I was trying to formulate the question. But the burning off, or the transformation, that element of it, like, is that very similar to, like, when people talk about, like for example, when Jesus went off to the 40 days and he had to go through that transformative process, or like a dark night of the soul. But I feel like I've had dark nights of the soul. You know what I mean? And then it's like, well, then I wasn't completely transformed, and it didn't last 40 days or 40 nights or anything crazy like that. So, I'm just like, I'm trying to figure some of that out, and what does that piece look like? You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's the same thing if I describe to you some tropical fruit you've never seen. It will still not tell you exactly what it tastes like and what it does to your body and your own experience. So the mind will take everything and run with it and make a story from it, and then you can get lost in a story for another 550 lifetimes. This is why, it's true. But I love your question. You're giving me a chance to answer it correctly and to share that. Within the course, I will speak to everybody individually, to that person. And it sounds like I contradict myself constantly. And because I will speak to that moment to bring liberation to that little moment. And it will be different for each person. So it's going to be, there's no religion here, or no, this is the way you do it. Yeah. And so for you right now, I know you want to have a piece of information that you can feel safe with, but that's not going to help you. There's nothing to, I'll give you more clutter and more garbage, and I wouldn't do that.
Well, and that honestly may be why the question wasn't becoming clear within me. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yes, absolutely. I know you're really teachable. We're in a moment of that is really beautiful. You're in what we teachers call a teachable moment, because you're there, you're hovering, you kind of want to look into look in somewhere and trying to understand it, and that's great. So there's a bit of an openness here, and that's wonderful. Essentially, you take the ingredients of the cake, when all the parts of you come together, the inner child and this trauma and this experience and the marriage and your children. I know whatever people go through, I'm talking about not just this life. Just remember, your soul has lived many, many lives, many, many lives. So this is why everybody who is on the call here is not for the first time, talking or hearing about this. You are either reawakening to it, or you're already kind of sniffing around it, and just wanting to kind of make this a bit more like, hey, how did this work again? Let me just get back on that proper, path. So.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
And I love that you give these. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Good. Wonderful. Thanks for the feedback. I saw in the question in the back here, Caroline said that, the anxiety and, am I ready for enlightenment? I'm terrified. And there's so much torture and suffering in the world and all this. Well, you'll learn how to see this in proper context, because you're seeing something that, just remember, this is all a mirror. This is, it's real, and at the same time, it is distorted, opaque. So, are you ready for enlightenment? Well, there's only two choices. You go the slow evolutionary way, where you stay within the suffering and within the drama, or you basically wake up. It's just like the alarm goes off in the morning, ding, and you get up and go to work. You just wake up out of the dream. This dream that we're in is not natural. You think this is natural. It's just like when you have a really intense dream at night. You think this is real. It's not. It's not. You just imagine you couldn't get out of the dream. When you dream and dream, people try to wake you up, you just can't get out. That's called sickness. People would be worried. They'd think you're in a coma. If people are in a coma right now, it's a coma of insanity. So, and because the mind can create anything, because it's infinitely creative, I'm talking eternally, infinitely creative, it causes a lot of deviations, what I spoke earlier, evil and all these things. So you want to become conscious of what you're doing in the deep. You want to awaken, illumine. If you want to rid yourself from what you see out there and all the horrors, you start that within yourself. Yeah, that's what you do. Next person is Sue. Hi, Sue. You're unmuted. Can you hear me? Oh, she's, we'll come back to Sue later. Okay, Jeanette, I'll unmute you. Hi, Jeanette.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
I'm struggling a little bit on the what next for me work-wise, really. I've run out on the animal side of things, and I know I was going to go down the coaching side, but that really doesn't interest me anymore. And yeah, I just seem to be going round in circles and spinning wheels, really.
So I'm hearing that you're going around in circles. Well, I'm hearing that you're wondering what your next step is or something like that. Yeah. So when somebody has a question like that, and somebody else had a question like that, I'm not sure who that was. You actually, who is wondering about this? It's the mind, right? We think we live through the mind, right? I don't know if your goats or horses are thinking, what's my next step? And that's what Louise was talking about. She just is in action. She's natural. She's become natural again. You're going back to your true nature, which is to just act. The mind is just an instrument to locate yourself within time and space, but not to tell you what your next step is. It's like asking, I always say, ask your phone or your iPhone or computer, what's my next step in life? It's just exactly the same thing. Yeah?
Because I'm still doing my walks and my nature journal and photographs and things like that. So I'm enjoying that side of things. But it's when I meet up with family and friends and they're like, "What are you going to do?" You know, and looking to them, I'm enjoying myself. You know.
Well, if you're enjoying yourself, that's wonderful. If you're not suffering, that's good. I would bet that everybody is suffering, and you are too. But if there's a certain joy in suffering, I understand that. I mean, but journaling is all very good. But have you ever seen people really? Do you think Buddha journaled? It doesn't work. It doesn't. You can't wake up journaling. You can get psychological insight, yeah. And the next step on the hamster wheel, you'll get that, but you won't get how to get off the hamster wheel. Which step do you want to take? Deeper into illusion or off out of the illusion? That's what this course is about. So I hope this helps you to kind of open your mind a bit. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Bye.
You're welcome. Thanks. So this is in 8143. Who's that? Hello?
Never had him not eat.
Can you come a little closer to the phone, to the microphone? Who's that? We don't have a good connection here, so I'm going to have to mute you again. Sorry about that. And we got in California 5306. Hello? Hello? 53061.
Hello?
Yeah, that's you. Hi there.
Huh?
Yeah,
oh,
hi there.
Okay. Hi. Yeah, so I felt the heart, almost instantaneously. And that's wonderful to be with you and be reminded, because though the heart is always open, I may not be paying attention to it all the time.
The heart.
So I wanted to thank you.
Oh, you said the heart is always open? Is that what you just said?
In this being here, I feel the isness.
Oh, in the isness. Yes, that's what it is. Yeah, it has to be. Otherwise, I would be not qualified to teach this course.
And I'm here to authenticate that it's instantaneous and right now, and so it is.
Thank you very much.
I love you.
Oh, thank
you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. This is Sue. Let's see if she's there. Sue, can we hear you?
Yes. Hi, Arathi Ma.
Hi there. Okay.
I've been in your course since the beginning for 3 years, and I'm not one of the awakened people yet, but I'm going to be there for the 4th year and the 5th year and however many years you do this. And I definitely feel this is possible. I'm just not there yet. In the meantime, all the healing that it's done for my life, I've gone through so much crap over the past few years, and I have so much that I'm dealing with now that, like, with my mother and dementia and all of this, and going, I could not cope with this psychologically if I didn't have all of these spiritual tools that you've given us. It's really transformed how I deal with life. So if anybody just wants to improve their life, even if they're not sure they want to, awaken, this is a wonderful course. I just wanted to give you that plug. And also say that I'm one of the Course A people who's done it without the calls, and it's wonderful if you have the financial resources to do calls, but it's also possible to be part of the course and get a lot out of it without them. So whatever level you can join at, please do. I'm
Thank you.
People.
Thank you. Okay, thanks, Sue. Yeah, she said something that I haven't really focused on too much. It is essentially very healing. You'll actually understand how consciousness functions, and you're going to really get to the basics. Sooner or later, I don't point it out too much, but you're going to get to understanding how to self-heal, really, and how this works. And to really understand it and to deal with difficult times in life. So there are 2 courses. Yeah, exactly. One has the calls. There are 2 calls per month. And somebody said, well, I'm in Australia. I added extra call on the Saturdays at a time that works for the people in the Southern Hemisphere. And where we can talk directly. There's direct guidance, and I help energetically on the call and also outside the call. I'm also always available, pretty much. Maybe between Christmas and New Year's, I'm a little less on in the groups, but pretty much I'm always there. And the course A is the modules themselves. And this year, the modules there are 10 modules, but I'm going to create 2 links basically per each module this year, which will be all the additional complementary MP3s. So we're going to become more streamlined with the more fundamental work, so it's more clear, because the material can be overwhelming in the sense, oh my God, but it shouldn't really. It's just that let's say, want to be generous and give you as much substantial tools as possible. But I will also make sure that you understand what's the fundamental stuff that you should focus on and what's supplement or complementary. There are healing MP3s, so there is healing support there in that sense, where you basically have particular, MP3s for that. There are also all the recorded calls from the previous years. So the amount of information is huge. It's a massive library of lifelong learning that you can go through. Even if you take one call and you go over it over and over and over again, as you keep transforming, it'll be always sound new. So I consider it as a very powerful work. Otherwise, I wouldn't be offering it. And I can see that obviously on the right track here because of the results and on people attending. There's a question here from Donna. He's asked here, what's the purpose of the dream spiritually for growth? And are we not talking spiritual bypassing, as it seems to be clear that all has to be felt as well. So this is not about rising above, which there are many teachings available which appear ungrounded and dangerous. Yes, I think you're answering now. Yes, well, let me put it this way. Yeah, there are a lot of teachings available out there about the transcending, but who is teaching them? Yeah, that's another key. I can talk about strawberries. Somebody else can talk about strawberries, and a farmer who's been growing strawberries for their whole life and generation can talk about strawberries. It'll be very different what's being transmitted. So dangerous, nothing is really dangerous because life cannot be destroyed and life is going to be in control after all. So in this, because maybe the language in terms of, let me put it this way, in the East, Eastern people are different than Western people. Western people are very psychological, very material, and the Eastern people are more spiritual, more immaterial. One by itself is, I would say, not whole. It's like cutting an apple into 2 pieces. So I blend both. I bring both worlds to this course, and I address both. But no matter how much psychological work you do, if you don't know who you really are, have really spiritual understanding, it's not very useful because it helps you maybe to become happier to some degree, but true happiness and the relinquishing of desiring more illusion is essentially needs to be relinquished because you want to be in the illusion awake. When you walk, let me say this. What is illusion? It is your understanding of reality. Because you're looking through a window that's opaque, so you're seeing a distortion, and that's the illusion. But the reality out there is very real. Your body is very real. It's all very real. And after awakening, and especially when then the heart starts to open up, things become extremely real. That's why it's more difficult to really, go through with the enlightenment process. That's why the statistics are on your side. Most people, they just dabble a bit and go a little bit into psychological stuff, maybe have some spiritual experience, and then stick with that. And that's it. But can you keep going? Can you keep going? Can you keep going? Can you die and keep going? Can you die, refine yourself, keep going? Can you keep going? This is an eternal infinite universe. That's the question. Let me see. There was a question regarding, this comes up here often here. I think it was Bart. 2 questions. There are so many gurus in the world, and we can all see and follow, listen to them on the internet. Are all gurus essentially talking about trying to lead people to the same thing? Second question, is enlightenment something to aim for with effort and practice, or does it just come without effort? Oh no, enlightenment does not come without effort. No. No, you have to overcome the gravitational field. You have to put effort in it. That's why we have free will. All gurus, yeah, well, what is a guru? There's Sat gurus and gurus. If you want to use the Eastern language, Sat is truth. Gurus dispel of darkness. Are they all essentially talking about the same thing, trying to lead people to the same thing? Well, they're going to try to lead you to what their understanding is. Are they lead you, so now we come to the whole discussion. I say the truth within you already exists. You already know if a frame is sitting crooked or straight on the wall. You can feel it. You know what's truly right and wrong. Somewhere you do know. We're all wired into it. So you have to basically stay with that. That's how you know. And usually a real teacher is going to be difficult to you, is going to challenge you. If not, that's why enlightenment is difficult. But not challenging in a sense where you are when you feel like you're in the wrong place, this is really wrong, you just know something's wrong, well then it's not really the right teacher and it's not the right direction. So you need to follow that. Let me see if there's some other questions here. Anything that is related to this course. So a lot of healing questions. And see, this tells me that a lot of people are looking to accomplish something. And in that sense is that you have to be able to be in your neutrality in your core and then see what arises. You take everything, all your problems back into your core. You sit with them and you recognize your attachment to it and you free yourself into that true self that you are. And that true self knows and becomes wiser and wiser and wiser, and it will just get up and respond and do something. There's a long question here about Sabina. Hi, Sabina. What does she say? I feel different in life here. Let's see here. Your teachings agree with the spiritual path I've been on for years. She's going with Ekankar. Okay. I also want to make a pilgrimage to see you. Let me see. What are you asking? Also shifting and release the patterns and karma. Do I need to make a stronger foundation in physical life? Okay. The fact that you need to do and work individuals, maybe that all lifelong. Not sure. There's not a particular question, Sabina, that I can answer here right now. All right. Let me see if this person, Clarion, is available now. 8443. Are you there? Hi there. 8143. No. Okay, so I'm going to go to Calgary. I'm wondering if that's Winona. Is that Winona? Hello? 4039. Oh,
sorry. Hello there. I was on mute. Sorry.
Yeah. No, good. Okay.
Yes. Hello. Beautiful call. Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. You'd made a comment there about how it's always transformational, this course, and I just wanted to, make very clear how true that is, and how, the journey that I've had with the last 3 years too, starting off with almost a sense of desperation at the beginning. A sense of, if I don't get it together, I'm going to keep spiraling down, right? And that's how it was feeling. And just how this course over the years has given me a focal point, a focus, all the tools and techniques and skills and love and support needed for anybody to make it. And there's such a fountain of information here. It's just, it's beyond words, I guess, is what I'm saying. And having reached 3 years later just this beautiful state of neutrality most of the time, events happen, but they just aren't important anymore. And the physical aspect has just been naturally healing itself, like without
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And that's been big.
Yeah, exactly. So the healing becomes natural because you're sitting in your core and you're really living from that neutrality. Healing happens all the time. It goes on constantly. Yeah.
Yes, at every level too. Like the physical level, it's like if I was going to do a comparison from 3 years ago and where I am today, it's remarkable.
Yeah.
And, from, like always being ill and always being in that focus, right? Of, the spiral downwards and feeling desperate and all that, and then having come out of it and just because, all I thought I was doing was reaching out to learn how to meditate properly and have some discipline. And boy, what a surprise this has been. And have become aware now of the importance of awakening and everything too. It continues to transform.
Yeah, it takes time, right? It's amazing. Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing that. Thank you, Renata.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I think what I'm noticing, I don't know if you notice this too, who's on the call here today, that the ones that have been in the course, there's a different quality in their clarity and their much substance of self there is. I don't know if you can sense that. There is the confusion isn't there anymore. The seeking is gone. They just know what to do. They know they're on the track. They don't have to be in the course. They can continue with what they're doing. Each person, I focus because each person is a bit different. Some people are a bit more have mental, and everybody needs a different yoga. Some people are more mentally inclined. Some are more heart. Some people are more on the physical level. They're just sensory, and there's a different way of people mature into bringing their wholesomeness and becoming whole again. So in terms of if you are planning to join this year, I'm basically opening up the modules today. The module 1 officially starts August 1st, and then after that, you have until August 4th sort of to kind of join, because we don't want to wait too long because you can't catch up. The evolution is so fast, and to basically catch up, it's a bit more difficult then. And there'll be, in terms of, many people say, well, it costs so much money. Well, I would say it's relatively good, because you have a whole month, like a whole year, like 12 months working together. And if you divide that per month, it's actually, some people pay more money on their gasoline for their car. So it really depends how you look at it, or, what's your priority. Some people like to rather go on vacation to Hawaii and spend it there, and have a kind of immediate satisfactory experience. Whereas my invitation is, it's really hard to explain how you become so vast and so free that you don't have the need to go somewhere to feel a little bit better. You become free from all that. You can, if you want. You can do all these things, but you don't have to. You are actually multidimensionally more conscious. And so you begin to have a sense of that you don't lack anything, which also will bring prosperity, because that's connected, right? If you don't feel that you're lacking anything, that's prosperity. I'm just seeing somebody in Oregon here is here. I think might be Elena, 5413. Hello? Is that you? 54139?
Yes.
Yes, hi there. Elena, is that correct?
Yes, hi, Arathi Ma. This is Elena. Yeah, I understand that the most important thing is for each of us to love oneself, and I've been working on it my whole life, because there was a lot of sadness in my life since I was a preteen. And I tried to go back to do Gestalt therapy, early decision. About 10 years ago, tried 5 or 6 times. Couldn't get there. I was blocked completely. And then finally I did. And I saw a lady in the dress of 1800s and a big hat at night under the moon on a little bridge holding a baby. And I knew the lady was going to be throwing the baby into the river below. And I thought I was the lady. And when she threw the baby, I realized I was the baby. And at that moment, I felt this early decision that I went throughout many lives was, I am not wanted, I am unwanted. And I've worked for so many years, for the last 6 or 7 years, to love myself, and I've accomplished a lot. But I feel that there is something still like attached, some hooks and cords that are keeping me from completely loving myself and thus opening myself to step into my power and give back all this love.
Yeah.
Could you help with that, please?
Well, I'm not going to do a healing on you right now. That's not what the call is about. But I'm going to help you understand why you can continue to try loving yourself and it won't work. You have to understand this, and I think you want to understand it because you are experiencing something you can talk about, right? The story of the baby and all these things, and you can feel it, and it's very real. It's true to your soul. It's something that's really real. But remember, love is a result. I'll repeat again what I said earlier, that when the mind leaves the desire attraction mechanism and we move into neutrality, then, and there is a deepening of neutrality, very deep, it has to be very deep, profound, all along the core line, then at some point the heart will open, because the heart closes when we judge. The heart closes when we desire, and the heart closes when we have a repulsion to something. And right now you don't like this feeling of pain that you feel, so that in itself is a not loving. So you're not in a loving state to yourself. So the first thing is to accept it fully, that you are experiencing, let's say, a human sense of suffering. And you leave it like that. You don't try to meddle with it. You don't try to fix it. You don't try to make a story out of it. You just stop. Your mind has to stop, and you have to be with it, and not even in order to heal it. You go even beyond that. You have to realize that that there's something within you that is already whole. And it's almost like you're knocking on that door. You're reaching into the potential of who you are already. Because you're not broken, nothing needs to be healed. You are, when we talk about hooks and all these things, these are all on the psychic level. They're like clothes. But you're not your clothes, right? You're the one that's wearing the clothes. You want to reach deeper. You want to reach into that which you are. So enlightenment has a lot to do with contacting your future self, who you really are. So if you allow yourself to be right at peace right now, just okay with what is, everybody can do this right now, and to just for a moment just like acknowledge and accept that there's nothing you need to heal or fix, and that there's something within you. We did this earlier, the sense of me, and beyond that, the sense of there's something else within me, and fact is that we actually know. We can contact that and touch that. And then we can remain in it and simmer in it and marinate in it. And it just invokes a flow of nutrition, you could say, that goes into the surface body and does heal actually the psyche, and it heals the body. And so we actually heal right from the source. And we don't get caught in this cyclical kind of fixing another problem. Because the thing is that if you don't know who you are, you're going to keep, the dough is sticky. There's always something else going to stick to you. And it's going to go on forever. You understand, Elena?
Yes, I do.
Good. Okay, great. Wonderful. You're welcome. Thank you. Wonderful. Yeah, so I don't want to go too long for the call here. Let me see, Carolyn, maybe another 5 minutes. How can I change this reaction or to give myself a chance to taste liberation? Caroline, how can I change this reaction of being frightened to be free? Wisdom is the best. That's what I'm offering here. Wisdom that and the trust that who you are, if you taste yourself, you're very sweet. Your sweetness, your goodness. And why would you be frightened of tasting a strawberry? You know it's sweet and good. So it's just your mind telling you that it's scary. So don't listen to your mind, because your mind is at the end of being in charge. So that's really what we can say. So if you have any questions regarding the call, the Wisdom Life School, you can email me also. If you don't want to ask here officially, publicly, you can do that. And there's a payment plan as well. If you want to join, I'd be excited. It's a very powerful year we're going to go through, because the light is hitting the matter things are opening up. So I call it also Wisdom Life New Earth School. So there's elements of what goes on in the world right now and how to be with that, be it financially, be it emotionally. But nonetheless, the fundamental aspect is for you to awaken to who you really are. So thank you very much for showing up today. This is replay, by the way. You can listen to it again after we end the call. And thanks for being here today. And maybe I'll see you in this call or in some other time. Thank you. Bye.